lifted everyone in here. It was amazing, unbelievable finish, and that's why we love football. That was just an unbelievable, incredible bit of technique.
When he says lifted everyone in here, he obviously...
Violence.
And you were like, where's the smile on your face?
He wasn't smiling. If I scored that goal, I'd still be smiling next week. It's an amazing finish.
He can't have been in shock because he knows he's got it in his locker. And talking of having a finish like that in your locker, you signed for Liverpool similar time, didn't you, to John Joe Shelvey? He has got the ability to do that. That's the point.
We were just saying he's 27 now. He's got great ability, John Joe. He's got the capability of he can got long range passing, short range. You look at his attributes. He's got all the clubs in the bag, and he's capable of doing this type of thing against a world class goalkeeper. And you just want to see it more from John Joe. I mean, I think he needs to show this more consistent. You know, you look at the Kevin De Bruyne
today. I like the way he spoke after the game about the understanding of the role, the understanding of not having the ball, and how they had to dig in and show character. And I think he epitomised that with Hayden in midfield today, which is it's tough in that midfield when you're not getting the ball. And they both, shown patience, dug in, and he got his reward for it at the end with a great finish.
What I've noticed about John Joe from watching him recently is that
you're right there.
Everyone all right? Everyone. He shortened his game down. JJ alluded to it, the discipline. Like he doesn't go for the killer pass all the time. He keeps the ball at the right times. He's got a real game management into his game now. He's developing nicely. I just hope for himself that he's still got enough years in him where he can maybe make that step back up into an even bigger club than Newcastle. Because I think he has got the ability, but just whether the lessons he's learnt and his body will give him enough time to do that. At 27, he's still got his best years ahead of him.
It was a really important day for Newcastle. While we get the rubbish taken out of the studio, let's have a look at the opportunity City had to win this, because as big as this result is for Newcastle, for City, this is a huge blow, but they had the opportunity to walk away with 3 points today, and that's
lucky. It really was. It was a good effort.
Last season, we saw Liverpool throw away a lead the same size as the lead they've got at the moment. So why are you now looking at this and saying you think that's it for City? Is it the points on the board, or is it the results and the way they're playing?
Points on the board is obviously a factor, because you at the most points you win the league. That's normal. But what I'm seeing through the spine of the team, there's an aggression that's been missing since Laporte and company, and obviously having to slide Fabinho back into the back four. I think they're missing things on the press. The things we talked about before the game, like getting things wrong, not getting to players in the midfield quick enough. Defenders like Fernandinho, centre-halves coming out, making lazy tackles. I think these little habits have crept into the Man City team over the last 3 months, and that's why you're seeing the results slightly different.
That creeping into a Pep Guardiola team, though.
Well, you're taking Laporte out, who I think was an unbelievable player. Company's retired, so just having him round, his presence in the dressing room, and by the way, he had a big influence on the team last year when he played. Them two are massive cogs, and you're taking Fernandinho out of the midfield, who's comfortable in a role, getting to players, organising round him, rallying players round him to get on the press. And so you've messed up that whole sort of core of the team, and it only takes something like that at this top level, and it can be glaring. So until they get that sorted out, and we looked at the bench, and you look at Otamendi, I don't think he's the answer. And then also you're looking at the physio room. I don't know when the lads are coming back, so you think I think it's going to be a while before they can really nail that down. Going forward, JJ's right. They're going to create chances against any team in the world because of what they've got, like the ability to 1-2s, there's always been moments of genius in this team, but that to win the title, they need to sort that core out.
If we're looking for proof to back up what Joe is saying about their defence being the issue, this compares them after 14 matches last season to this season. I mean, the first thing that your eye is drawn to is the goals conceded. Look at how much higher the goals conceded are this season. And also the shots on target they're facing is basically, they're allowing teams double the amount of chances against them.
Well, that all adds up to teams getting more joy out of them as well. There is no doubt that the more Pep Guardiola's teams dominate this league, the more teams are working harder and trying to find ways how to stop them and break them down. And there's been some joy in that. A lot of that has been because of personnel change at City, and a lot of that has been some tactical brilliance from a few managers as well. So look, when I look at the Liverpool side of things, I think the only difference is that, because Liverpool, I don't think, are playing that well, but they just don't leak as many goals. When they're having bad days, they might leak one, but that's it then. You've got your one, and we believe in our attack to go and win is the game. Whereas City kind of like today, for example, 2 goals here at Newcastle team that didn't create loads. That's where the problems lie, losing too many games like that defensively.
Do you think there's an argument that they're fatiguing a bit? But then if you argue that, then you have to look at Liverpool and say, well, why aren't they? They made the Champions League final as well last season.
It's a valid argument, and some of the players, you don't know. what people don't know is what's going on with players. You know, someone might be carrying a knock. You know, they might be having one of them spells where your players look a bit fatigued. Maybe the lads need you know, it's an argument. But a bit
more expansive the other way. But for what we've got at the moment, it suits us. And with the front three, even though they don't score, they cause even a good team like Man City a threat on the counter-attack. We still have to be better and a bit more clinical, but we've scored a couple of wonderful goals, which is good to see.
They were wonderful, and Willem's goal, of course, it didn't escape anybody's notice.
Yeah, Maximum's got an assist. So when you're putting your stats up before the game now, Des, tell these analysts that he's got an assist. You know, I thought it was a good goal, a really good goal. And Jetro's now got 2 with his right foot, which is good to see.
And John Joe's as well, fantastic striker. Well, former Liverpool player, of course.
John Joe is, well, we know he's got the ability in his locker to do that. Yeah. That's why he's cost all that money all his career. He's a good footballer, the kid. And it was more like to see John Joe playing. In the last three games in particular, at home, he's done very, very well.
And of course, you've taken points off Spurs, Manchester United, now City. You just need that consistency.
May as well call it a day. Doesn't get any better. Yeah, just that consistency, especially away from home. At home, we're points total stacked.
BT Spot 1, thanks for sticking with us. I think it's a really interesting case, you know, this Newcastle team, because if you look at it, they're picking up points against sides who are doing really well. Spurs, obviously having a bad season, but they're a big time. Same with Wolves, same with Manchester United. It's just a situation where trying to do the business against the smaller sides with a Geordie in charge, and if they can just focus on Steve a bit more and a little bit less about the owner, you'd still feel this is a club that can achieve so much with momentum.
That's not going anywhere, Jake. That focus that they have towards Mike Ashley, it's warranted. You know, they don't feel like the club is being looked after and taken forward in the way that it should have. Mike will have his own arguments towards that, I'm sure. But that disconnect between the both is what creates that feeling. When we sit here and we watch this game, and I'm like, this atmosphere is not like when I used to play here. I used to come here and for a warm-up, it used to be electric. Yeah. And it's taking things to lift the place. So they want to be that. These fans love this place. Like Joe said, this city is heart and soul. It bleeds Newcastle. And they want to be that again. And Steve is that guy, in my opinion. I think they will get back there.
We're looking at Man City selling 10% for about 500 or 600 million. I don't know what it means for the owner of this place. He probably thinks he's undervaluing his football club. But look, thanks so much for your company today. A significant day in the title race for both Liverpool and Manchester City. Can Liverpool now respond? It's time to find out, because it's time for BT Sports Score. We'll leave you in their capable hands for the rest of the afternoon. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Jake. Feels like a significant day, doesn't it? Manchester City dropping points at St James's Park, quite possibly losing ground to Liverpool at the top of the table. We will hear from Pep Guardiola as soon as he gives his interview. Elsewhere this lunchtime, Charlton lost 3-1 at home to Sheffield Wednesday in the Championship. Coming up, we'll bring you all the goals as they happen in the 3 o'clock kickoffs, including 7 games in the FA Cup second round. We have reporters at every match and 4 games in the Premier League with both Tottenham and Chelsea in action. But we'll start our build-up with the league leaders, Liverpool, Jules.
Yes, Liverpool take on Brighton. Karen Carney's going to be watching this one, where Liverpool can go 11 points clear at the top of the Premier League table with a win today. Can anyone stop them, Karen?
The way they're not even playing well and they're still picking up points. It's going to be very, very difficult. I can't see Brighton doing it, even though they might get a bit of confidence that Liverpool can't keep a clean sheet at home. But for me, it's going to be a home win.
For Brighton, they have picked up a bit of confidence with their improved performances so far this season. And after losing to Leicester last weekend and facing another of the top 2 today, will they see this as a free hit? Will they go all out for the win?
I think so. They've got nothing to lose, really. They're not expected to go and win there. The manager's just signed a new 6-year deal, which they obviously have a lot of faith in him. So they'll go there, give it their best shot, because all the pressure's on Liverpool, especially with the Manchester City result.
Yep, absolutely. More games to come, Mark.
Including a first home game in the league for Jose Mourinho. Tottenham against Bournemouth. Stephen Warnock's got to watch this one. Tottenham haven't won back-to-back games in the league this season. Bournemouth have never scored a goal, let alone got anything away to Tottenham. What have you made of Jose's first 2 games, then?
It's been interesting. Attacking lineups, interesting tactical changes throughout the games, and a smile on his face, which is not what we've associated Mourinho with in the past.
So, straightforward win today?
I think so, yeah. I just think they'll have too much for Bournemouth. They don't travel very well to Spurs.
They don't travel very well to the big clubs. Jules, a couple more games to look at.
Yeah, including Burnley against Crystal Palace. Chris Sutton, I know how much you love this Burnley side, but Sean Dyche's tactics are effective. My challenge to you today is to find something positive to say about them.
No, I'm extremely positive about Burnley. I think they've won the last 2 games 3-0. The last time they won a third game by a 3-goal margin, Jules, 1926, when Albert Pickles was manager. They'll be hoping not to make a pickle of this one today.
I had a feeling that was coming. What about Crystal Palace? They're in a bit of a poor run of form, but they face some difficult matches, and the fans will have seen a lot of positives from their loss to Liverpool.
Yeah, I think so. When you know, the last 3 matches, Leicester, Chelsea, Liverpool lost to them, they'll feel this is a winnable game. Roy Hodgson, good record against Burnley, won his last 3. They need to score more goals, though, but he'll be looking at this as a winnable game.
OK, and the final Premier League game kicking off at 3 o'clock is massive. It's a London derby between Chelsea and West Ham, and West Ham fans will be happy to see that Manuel Pellegrini has made a change in goal. The reports are, Robbie, that Manuel Pellegrini has 2 matches to save his job, this one and the one midweek in the Premier League against Wolves. Can he turn things around?
It's going to be difficult. I thought the 2 goals against Spurs last weekend flattered them. It could have been more, but it's a huge game for David Martin. I was his captain at Derby when he come for 2 games. 11 starts in his 2 years at Millwall. It's going to be a big afternoon for him, but Frank Lampard's side, I can't see anything other than a win at Stamford Bridge. And, you know, I'm just shocked at Chris saying he's positive about Burnley. He's never positive about Burnley. Wow.
We'll have to wait and see. They kick off at 3 o'clock.
4 top games in the Premier League, another 7 in the FA Cup. Second round to look forward to. We'll be back shortly for kick-off around the country. BT Sports Score is next.